You know it's bad when your parenting makes it into Google Maps. Like, not in a look at my cute house kind of way, but in a why is your baby outside alone kind of way.
Y'all, this is crazy. You cannot make this up. So, Stephanie Jenkins from the Resilient Jenkins' youngest son was captured in a photo outside their motel room alone. And if I'm not mistaken, he's just 2 years old. And it's very obviously him, and that's their vehicle. Now, the craziest part of this all is that this is not a picture that somebody took while driving by. No, this is a Google Maps image. When you type in the address of wherever it is that they are staying, this is the image that pops up, and it was just updated in April. So now this picture is all over social media and people are asking, why is he outside alone? Where is everybody else?
Stephanie Jenkins, aka Resilient Jenkins on TikTok, has stirred up her fair share of online drama over the years. But this time, the controversy isn't coming from a shady expose or viral rant. It's coming from a literal Google Street View car that just so happened to catch something no one was supposed to see.
Now, Stephanie has yet to respond to this or address it, and has yet to address Drew Jenkins' warrant. If you don't know why he got the warrant, he was supposed to go to court for his child support hearing and didn't show up. Drew has been going to child support court with Arita, the mother to his other child who is also on this platform, and last time they went to court, it was a requirement that he get a job. So Stephanie nor Drew have addressed this, but apparently Drew went live last night from his TikTok account only for a few seconds before hopping off. I'm guessing to prove that he wasn't in jail, but like, what are the chances that the Google people are driving around where you live to take pictures and your kid just so happens to be outside alone?
In an image that's now going viral, Stephanie's youngest child, Atlas, who's only about 2 years old, is seen standing outside, completely alone next to their 2019 Jetta. No adult around, no one in sight. Just a kid in a camera car that happened to pass by at the exact wrong moment. And to make things worse, this wasn't a screen-recorded TikTok. It wasn't even a neighbor trying to start drama. It was an official, time-stamped Google Maps photo updated in April 2025.
It's really had me bent over backwards, inside out. And I don't know what in the reary hat tail balls is up with that fool, my man's ex, King Daddy Drew's ex. But like, why is she always up in my lives with all of her fingerboard warriors? Like, go on. Can't you see me and my King Daddy Drew was happy? And, you know, I'm going to just address it quick. But I'm not even going to say that much because we're resilient and I don't think I even owe you guys anything. I don't think I owe you guys anything. Like, you know, I don't even give the haters any attention because, you know, it's just not worth it. It's just, it gets me downright upset, bubble-gutted up stomach about it because it's just not right.
Let that sink in for a second, because this wasn't some secret footage someone snuck online. This was public, global. Anyone on the internet could stumble across it just scrolling through maps. And now, the image is everywhere on TikTok, sparking a wave of outrage. People are confused, furious, and heartbroken. Because if a Google Maps car can catch something this serious by accident, what else is slipping through the cracks behind the scenes? And despite all this, Stephanie, she's been radio silent. No post, no statement, no explanation. Just vibes.
Because be coming from my king and my King Daddy Drew. And yeah, he has a bench warrant. But you guys don't think that your little keyboard warriors haven't been to my place by now? They have. They've been here. We've had so many CPS cases, it's not even funny. So, like, I don't understand why you people are so bent over backwards about me and my King Daddy Drew. You fools have nothing better to do than to sit up on this app. But I don't think you realize that how a bench warrant even works. They're never coming for my king. My king gonna be good till the day he... I'm not even going to talk about it anymore, though. You know, like, it doesn't matter what I say, what I do. You people are never going to like me, and I have just accepted it.
Honestly, when even Google ends up being the whistleblower, it might be time to log off. Make sure to watch this video all the way through for the full breakdown. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story this wild. Because trust me, Google Maps is out here doing investigative journalism now.
So let me get this straight. You also think that it's okay to let your kids sleep right next to the kitchen? This is a family of 5 living in a 1-bedroom apartment. And yes, those are bunk beds behind me. And I don't know what's worse, having your kids sleeping next to the kitchen or making fun of your own kids for sleeping next to the kitchen. So as you can see here, this is the little setup, and I will say it's clean, it's cute, yeah, whatever. But what is this, and why are you literally making fun of your children?
All you have to do is look at the photo. A toddler, barely 2 years old, standing behind a parked car with the back door left wide open, like it's begging for something to go wrong. There's no adult in sight, no parent nearby, not even a shadow suggesting someone's keeping an eye on the kid. That toddler is Atlas, the youngest of Stephanie Jenkins' 5 children.
Like, genuinely, what is this? And then here comes Stephanie talking about my goodness, this is the most relatable clip I've come across in a while. Bunk bed right next to the kitchen. Y'all get it. I'm sorry, but what is it with y'all and this fascination of your children sleeping in the kitchen? Then the adults taking the bedroom with the babies. Like, I could confidently say that if I were to live in a 1-bedroom apartment, I would give my children the bedroom. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts, like no questions asked and nothing, no arguments, nothing.
And the car, it's their silver 2019 Jetta. The same one Stephanie's shown off repeatedly in her TikToks. The location shown lines up perfectly with the motel where the Jenkins family currently lives. And this isn't hearsay or a fan theory. It's right there on Google Maps for anyone to see. This wasn't a setup, it wasn't planned, and nobody staged it.
Hello, this is Stephanie Jenkins. I did not recognize her. Her mom posted this picture of her, and to be quite honest, like, she looks so much healthier. Her skin looks like it's kind of glowing. Now she does have some, like, I don't know, she doesn't have makeup or anything, but she looks sober. Like, I don't know. How is it that you're with your mom and you choose to live with Drew Jenkins? I need an answer. Like, let's talk about this. You have the option to live in a house with your kids and build your bag.
A Google Maps car just happened to drive by at the exact wrong moment, and its cameras caught something way more serious than anyone expected. This wasn't some minor lapse in judgment. It's a digitally archived, timestamped snapshot of a situation that should have never occurred. A toddler left unattended, steps away from a wide-open vehicle in the middle of a motel parking lot. The fact that this is how the moment was captured, by total chance, is what's got TikTok parents and creators completely floored.
But instead, you choose to struggle in the guise of love with somebody who has to pay child support, someone that's never going to marry you, partially because you're already married to a PDF file, but that's neither here nor there. Like, why? Why do you refuse to go and do better and instead, like, struggle? Why pick that? I think you can't show that you're resilient unless you put yourself in these situations. And so, I don't know, go ahead and comment and let's talk about why she wants to struggle. Make sure you follow me because I post all the nitty-gritty and all, like, the details and the juicy gossip from what's going on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and all the socials.
The outrage online has been intense. People are shocked that something this dangerous was happening in broad daylight unnoticed. Like, how do you slip up so badly that Google ends up clocking your neglect before anyone else? The general vibe online? Google might be doing a better job watching these kids than the actual parents.
Okay, welcome to a new series called Walking to the Mailbox. Probably another series that I won't finish, but, you know, whatever. Today, let's talk about the resilient Jenkins, because I posted a video about them before, about her on there mopping the walls every day. I understand if you mop your walls, like, or clean your walls, like, once a month, or what have you. But, not every day. That's not something we do every day.
The internet wasn't reaching. Even if Stephanie was just inside the motel room or standing at the doorway watching, that doesn't magically make it safe. It's still a parking lot, a place where cars are constantly pulling in and out, strangers pass through at random, and unfamiliar people live just feet away. That's not an ideal environment for anyone, let alone a toddler.
I don't know, it just, it screams in the eyes. They never lie. I don't know, I just feel like, if that's the best they can do right now, then they need to let the children go somewhere where they have a more stable and, a home, not a hotel room, because they're not even trying to, like, get better. Like, it just seems like they're making plenty of money. They're making plenty of money. And there's, look, and don't cover my hair this morning because I just left the gym, okay?
We're not talking about some peaceful little cul-de-sac. This is a busy motel parking lot where things can change in an instant. These aren't just what-ifs people are throwing around. Kids really do get kidnapped. Cars absolutely back out without seeing a small child. And toddlers, they're quick. They can dart straight into danger before you even realize they've moved. Then there's the added layer that Stephanie herself once implied that Atlas may be on the spectrum. That kind of information only deepens the concern.
Stephanie talking about Morgan Stalker. That's real smug for a homeless mom of 5 who needs the hate from TikTok to feed house and clothes her man and her kids.
What? Explain this one to me, girl. You are the queen of this. And then you want to call someone out when they do it? The hell? Let me sit back. And...
A child who may need additional supervision, more structure, more care, left completely unattended outside, that's the kind of moment people remember. Not because they're trying to mom shame, but because they're genuinely worried. So yes, social media erupted. But this wasn't just more TikTok drama. It felt like something heavier, something that really hit a nerve. And just hours after that Google Maps photo started circulating, Stephanie finally posted a video. But not about that. Not a word about the picture. No mention of Atlas being left alone.
I want you to try something original.
So
I want you to try to
apparently
make your
only
own
cooking
content.
chicken and
I want to
frying
see
fish
if
in
you
a
can stand
motel
on your own
counts
two
as
legs
authentic
instead of using
content.
everybody else's content and bashing them. It doesn't get the same views that you get for all the hating that you do. Girl, that's low of you to just pick that route anyways. Continue
Stephanie,
trying.
are you not choosing to live in squalor and
Continue
playing
trying.
poor and neglecting our children for clout?
Bashing everybody
Bashing
else
a
just so
bad
you can
mom
get
for
yours.
neglect is
Karma
not
will
the
come back
same
around.
as being that bad
One
mom.
thing.
No response to the wave of concern, the CPS warnings, or the fact that her toddler had just gone viral for all the wrong reasons. No explanation, no acknowledgement, no accountability. Instead, she filmed herself sitting quietly in her car while rain tapped softly on the windows. The camera was set up carefully. Her tone was low and serious, like she was finally ready to address what everyone had been waiting to hear. But then, she pivoted. She started talking about Ba, another one of her kids.
Like, no motherfucking jokes, but that diaper fuller than my gas tank. I tell you to fuck that, okay? And then it's just a simple fact that she points out in the video, like, that his diaper is, yes, he went and got changed, you know what I'm saying? This boy loves to hydrate. Well, if he loves to hydrate, then why don't mama love to change his diaper? Like, what? Because he's gonna pee anyway. Let's just leave the pee on him. Because he gonna pee again. Girl, you gotta be shitting me. You have got to be shitting me.
Stephanie said she'd noticed people accusing her of overlooking signs that Ba might also be on the autism spectrum. And now she claimed she was finally ready to address those concerns. She began with, and I quote, "For weeks I've been seeing all the allegations in my comments." Pause. Weeks? You've been reading those comments for weeks, and out of all the possible moments to speak on it, you picked now, right when your parenting is under fire for an entirely different child, to respond?
Brazilian Jenkins had to change hotels again. Keep in mind that this is the 6th time that they have moved in 2 months. They first moved into that first hotel room back in March 18th, and since then they've been moving back and forth for literally 6 or more times. It's so sad because every time she films them moving out of their hotel room, you can see all of the kids packing their little stuff, their little stuffed animals, putting on their pajamas. And I just can't help but think, what do the kids at school, if they even go to school, have to say about them constantly moving from hotel room to hotel room, because they're like at an extended stay and she says they can only stay for 28 days.
It didn't sit well. Not with her usual supporters. Not with moms watching online. Not with anyone who's ever defended her parenting in the past. Because when you're under fire for neglect, and not in some petty way, but in a very real, very public way, and your response is to shift the topic entirely to a different issue you've been ignoring for weeks, that's not consistency. That's misdirection. It came across like she was using one child to distract from the controversy surrounding another. A redirection tactic, an effort to control the storyline. And the sad part, Ba does deserve attention. Ba's needs are valid. But that sudden pivot, it felt strategic, not sincere.
And if the manager told her last minute, once again, she finds a way to blame everyone but herself. So apparently every 28 days, they have to go stay at another location for one night with all their stuff, literally all their stuff. After that one night, they move back with all their stuff. So you can imagine how stressful that is for all of them. They literally have 3 older kids. They have a whole toddler who is on the spectrum. They have a newborn, and they're not going to leave that PS5. But yeah, this is just insane to me. I feel so bad for all of the stress and inconsistency that her kids are having to be put through. But let me show you a little message that she left for us. She said, "I know y'all will instantly assume that we are not doing everything we can to find housing. Stop assuming you know everything we have planned. Stop assuming and watch the journey and be supportive or not, your choice. But saying we don't have drive for better for our children is false, and I will continue to prove that." Is the drive in the room with us, or?
Like she saw the backlash brewing and thought, let me change the subject before this goes nuclear. Instead of calming people down, it made everything worse. Because now, people weren't just accusing her of negligence. They were calling her out for allegedly weaponizing her children's possible diagnoses to avoid accountability. And in a space like TikTok, where every word is clipped, reposted, and dissected in real time, that kind of move doesn't fade. It gets amplified. And while all of this was exploding online, we've got another layer to the drama. Drew Jenkins. Let's talk about him. Drew was legally supposed to appear in court for a child support hearing. This wasn't a maybe. This wasn't optional. He was notified, documents were filed, everything was official. And what did he do? He ghosted it.
You guys, I can't wrap my head around this shit. Did Stephanie just self-diagnose her toddler? Or am I making this shit up? Am I tripping? What's happening? Because in her recent video, she just said, our toddler on the spectrum.
No appearance, no phone call, no excuse. Just didn't show. Because of that, the judge had no choice but to issue a bench warrant for his arrest. That's not gossip. That's not TikTok rumor. That's real. If law enforcement pulls him over or even runs his name, they're taking him in. And what started this? A long-running child support case tied to another child from a different relationship. In a prior hearing, the court had already given him a chance. They told him to get a job. Not as advice, as a requirement, a condition. And he ignored it.
So let me get this straight, y'all. Drew didn't show up to court and now he got a warrant out for his arrest. Yup. So if y'all are not all caught up, Drew owes hella money in child support to Arita, and she took him to court and he never showed up. But she thinks that she saw Stephanie, but she's not 100% sure. But Drew was nowhere to be found. But y'all know how Stephanie is about her King Daddy Drew. She's gonna hide him away in another motel somewhere in the Hotel Motel Holiday Inn.
Then he skipped court entirely. That's not just irresponsible. That's blatant disrespect. Disrespect to the judge, to the legal process, and most importantly, to the child at the center of it. People online had already been speculating that Drew wasn't employed. Now the court has basically confirmed it. Job? Ignored. Court date? Ignored. It sent a loud, clear message. I don't care. And somehow it gets worse. Multiple creators and followers have been digging through public records and posting receipts that allegedly show Drew's driver's license is suspended. Drew, of course, denies it. But the screenshots, they tell a different story.
And since he didn't show up to court, that's going to look really good when Desiree files for emergency custody for her son. Because let's say that Drew gets caught and goes to jail. Do y'all think that they're going to leave Deshaun with Stephanie? No. You're going to jail. Like, damn, what is Stephanie gonna do when Drew can't work his 9 to PS5 no more? Soon we're gonna be seeing videos, free my King Daddy Drew, free my King Daddy Drew.
So now we've got a guy who allegedly isn't working, has an active warrant, may be driving on a suspended license, and is raising multiple kids in a cramped motel room. Yet, he still finds time to go live on TikTok as if none of this is happening. Instead of dealing with any of it, no legal follow-up, no public statement, no responsibility, he just opens the app and hits go live.
So Stephanie is telling us her short-term and long-term plans. Pause to read.
It was after 11 p.m. on a Thursday, a school night. Most people were winding down, putting their kids to bed, or just trying to catch a few hours of quiet. But Drew, he was putting on a show. What viewers saw was pure chaos. A baby crying loudly in the background, more than once. Other kids tossing and turning, whispering, unable to sleep. The sound of stress and exhaustion filling the room. Drew kept muting and unmuting the live.
Y'all, I'm sorry. I'm tired of doing this already. It's only been 4 days since I've been back. I'm ready to go again. Because I'm starting to get pissed off and I'm getting confused. It's just annoying. You know, I'm watching these videos. First of all, Stephanie popping up on my FYP. I'm having to click her page and pause the video because I don't want to give her no money of mine. I don't want my view to give her any type of coin. So then I, boom, go to her page and watch the videos and just to be getting pissed off. Like the last video she just posted. Ma'am, why are you writing these paragraphs? The paragraphs are going with the visual, right? So you're visually seeing a scene. You're reading a paragraph about the scene that you're viewing, but then you're hearing this audio because it's a voiceover video, and the audio don't have nothing to do about what we're looking at and what we're reading. The audio is her basically cussing us the fuck out, talking about she don't give no fuck about what we got to say about her. Bitch, we know, and we don't care, and that's why we keep making videos. That's why we keep making videos, because you don't give a fuck. We know. And neither do we, bitch. Okay. Oh, I'm about to get off of here. Anyway. Just piss me off. Just goofy. Pointing out stuff that she said that we're going to talk about. So instead of letting people watch the video and then point out, or instead of, I don't know, watching the video and then like editing stuff out,
Like he knew what people were hearing wasn't okay, but instead of tending to it, he just tried to hide it. Comments poured in. People asked about the warrant, about the court case, about Atlas in the Google Maps photo, and Drew, he ignored every single question. Then came the kicker. "This chat is boring," he said. And with that, he ended the live stream.
She just gonna post the video as it is, and then she just gonna call out the stuff on herself. Like she was like, y'all not finna talk about my son diaper being soggy because he stays hydrated. He stays hydrated. So of course that's why his diaper looks like that. He stays hydrated and he's gonna take a shower in 45 minutes. This is neglect. It's not even funny. I think this is neglect. Is it? It's neglect, right? Is that neglect? It's neglect. I think it might be neglect. Okay, yeah, this ain't even funny no more. I can't do this. We might be actively watching. We are actively watching. Is this can we be? No. I'm not even in Connecticut. She's not in Connecticut. She's in Oregon. Oregon is not in Connecticut, right? I don't know. Either way, it's not Georgia, and I'm in Georgia, so no, we can't be accessories to a crime, correct? Just by viewing. I don't know. I need to Google it. I don't want no parts no more because this is starting to get a little crazy.
You had kids crying in the background, real-life stress leaking through every second, and Drew just sitting there, eyes locked on the camera like everything was fine, like TikTok was more important than the noise happening behind him. But the comment section, it was on fire. No jokes, no support, no grace. Just 5 straight minutes of people flooding the chat with free dessert, demanding accountability and justice. The energy wasn't just annoyed, it was angry. You could feel the digital tension thick in the air, like the audience was collectively holding its breath.
Listen, I can't believe some of y'all be saying that I leave my children outside by themselves. unattended. That's like what? Like what? Like what? I don't do that. I don't leave my kids outside alone. No. See, you know, when we go out, it's always safety first. And we don't leave the kids near the car by themselves. Oh, shit, Bubba, what you doing? Oh, you playing emergency brake again? Oh, it's okay. He just playing emergency brake. When I tell y'all this was so good, it was so scrum-dibbly-umptious, y'all gotta see what else I made. I have been thinking about making me a cookbook, so I went ahead and make one. See, here, cookbook, and it's called One Pan, No Plan. Includes salt and pepper soup recipe, okay? And then it has my famous ants on a log. Now, you know how they say use raisins, but fuck that. We gonna use real ants. See? Ain't that delicious? That's a little ant. I think that's the mommy and daddy ones because they're the biggest. We also have my special recipe. It's called LOPS, L-O-P-S, which stands for leftover pepperoni sticks. You just get them from where Bubba behind them, behind the furniture. Might get some ants on there, but that's fine, that's fine. But yeah, it's real good.
Waiting for someone, anyone, to step up. And Stephanie, she was there. Not openly, not on her main page, but under her old backup accounts, quietly dropping gifs, hyping up the engagement, pretending to be just another random viewer. But it was obvious. She was still backing Drew, still boosting the chaos while the room full of children told a completely different story. Viewers weren't just mad anymore, they were hurt. Because what they were witnessing didn't look like two parents doing their best. It looked like two people so obsessed with staying relevant online that they'd rather fake normalcy on live than confront the mess their kids were stuck in.
Hush, little paycheck, don't you cry. Even though you got Daddy King's hairline, you gotta sing to them. As you know, at our hotel, it is a law that we have to stay one day out of the month, just because, you know, like squatters' rights and shit. But I do be having to take the blankets because the bed bugs is on it. And since I abandoned the cats, that's the only pets the kids have. And it is so cute, Bubba like to hide underneath the blankets. He always be trying to hide from us. And before y'all say King don't do nothing, here he is making sure Bubba got a correct view of the TV screen and don't miss nothing on the He just be working his fingers to the bone as not to PS5, so make sure he take his PS5 I don't care what y'all gotta say. That thing really save our babies when we want to watch TV and shit. Ooh, I love his shirt. I love Breed 182. Even though we know we have to leave every 28 days, this still was sprung up on me. But I had to make sure I packed the baby's beds, you know. This one a 2-for-1 pet carrier, so I could fit two of them there. That's good. Our littlest kiddo, she be loving that chicken fried rice, that Chinese fried rice. So I put her in that box, but you know, I gotta stick her leg out the top because, you know, like ventilation and shit. Of course, I put Bubba in the Amazon box because, you know, why the fuck not? Even though this may not be the perfect situation, I do gotta be reminding myself that God has a plan and he will open like a cage or window or something. But let's do a quick fit check. I hope you like my size 19 thighs and my sunflower pants, and I look good, and how you like Bellany. I know y'all like to talk about her. Okay, bye-bye now.
And just when you thought it couldn't get more tense, boom. Enter Morgan. A longtime TikTok creator and vocal critic of Stephanie, Morgan had had enough. She didn't sugarcoat anything. No cryptic posts, no vague references. She jumped into her live with pure frustration and let it rip. She called out the moment everyone had been whispering about. Why is your toddler outside alone near a car? She demanded. Then came the bigger bombshell. Morgan accused Stephanie of taking Shaw from his mother and never giving him back. You want to act like Supermom online? She said, while behind the scenes you're fighting for scraps? No filters, no PR, just raw, unfiltered rage, and a whole lot of questions that still don't have answers.
I don't know what is my mama's problem and why she keep going live with all these hilly-billy willies, but I just don't understand. You know we resilient, and stop bringing up my ex that I procreated with. I get it, the cops had to force me to leave him. But, like, when I originally married him, it's like I didn't even know what he did to his mom, you know? Like, so you got me really bent over backwards, and you wonder why me and my offspringers don't want to live with you anymore. Like, this is just getting so crazy. And then you guys go on Google Maps, and you post my Bubba.
It felt like more than just an offhand live stream. It was a live-action dumpster fire. Kids wailing in the background, real-life chaos bleeding through the camera, and Drew sitting there, staring blankly into the lens as if none of it mattered. The chat didn't laugh it off, it erupted. For 5 straight minutes, viewers spammed free dessert, demanding justice and accountability. You could almost taste the tension through the screen, everyone waiting for anyone to step up. Stephanie was lurking too, not on her main profile, but under burner accounts, tossing gifts and fanning the flames like a covert cheerleader. But it only highlighted how detached they both were. two parents so consumed by clout that they'd rather stunt online than tend to their own children. Then Morgan entered the ring. No teasers, no build-up. She dove in headfirst. She leveled that same hard-hitting question everyone was thinking. Why is your toddler alone by a car? But she didn't stop there. Morgan dropped receipts from Stephanie's own mother, who allegedly went live and confirmed many of the circulating rumors. And then came the viral zinger. You're beefing with me while your toddler's being raised by Google Maps.
Who cares if he was outside by himself? He was collecting rocks and sticks. Like, I just don't understand why that got you guys so bent over backwards, flabbergasted. I let him go outside all the time. He's been going outside since he came right out the ooter. This is crazy. And no, my man is not turning himself in. He's not getting a job, not turning himself in. I don't know what kind of people you think we is, but we resilient, and we ain't gonna be resilient with turning Drew in. My king daddy Drew is going to stay forever, and y'all need to stop listening to my mom. I'm downright upset.
It stung because it was painfully true. Stephanie's response? More deflection. New videos with cryptic captions, shade tossed at the camera, like it was all just some performance art. No clarifications, no denials, no apologies. The toddler photo went unmentioned. Drew's bench warrant? Untouched. Viewers called her out. You're flexing online while your kid's under Google's watch. How does Google have more eyes on your child than you do? Former fans started tracking Drew's potential arrest, hoping that, if he gets picked up, Atlas might finally be safe. On her live, Stephanie shrugged it off. Cops know where we are. They've been here before. No mention of Atlas alone, no explanation for Drew's no-show, no acknowledgement of a warrant. And she capped it with, I only respond to supportive comments, a line that screamed avoidance.
I've seen the card that the oldest Jenkins daughter wrote to her younger sister for her birthday, saying something along the lines of, I hate your birthday, I feel left out. She just feel left out today because it's the other sister's birthday and she's feeling kind of jealous because I know how kids work. And when one of my kids, the younger ones, when they have a birthday, the other ones that are young, they want it to be their birthday too, right? And they're seeing them get all these presents and then they have to wait months and months until their birthday comes. It can create some jealousy, right? So I'm not trying to jump to conclusions here. I think one of two things happened when that got leaked in Drew's video. Either one, he's just too dumb. He's just dumb as fuck. And Stephanie is now lecturing him on make sure you see what's in the camera view. Make sure you pay attention to what's in the camera view. The trolls, blah, blah, blah. And that dude's getting in trouble. He's getting his ass whooped right now, okay? Either that's happening or number two, it was all a plan. It was all a freaking plan because these people are so methodical, okay? Stephanie and Drew are methodical. They are calculated. They know exactly what they're doing most of the time. So I also wonder if that was like placed there for rage bait. And if that's the case, man, that's a nasty, nasty low. Disgusting, disgusting people to throw your kids under the bus like that with some rage bait. I hope Drew's just getting his ass whooped right now. That's what I hope.
Meanwhile, her feed stayed picture perfect, glitter over guffaws, as real questions about her children went unanswered. This isn't just influencer drama, it's about 5 real kids being raised in a cramped motel parking lot, left to slip through digital cracks while the world watches in horror. The same people who once cheered for her strength and healing are now documenting her collapse in real time. Because when a random Google Maps update catches a toddler alone, that's not a glitch, it's a red flag. And all eyes are on Stephanie and Drew as they spiral, with innocent children caught in the middle, children who didn't ask for any of this and who deserve so much better.
Do you want to know why these children blank stare all the time? They're exhausted. They have a newborn baby in a family of 7 room. Not even a room for a family of 7. They have a baby with 7 people in the room. None of these kids are getting sleep. No one's getting sleep. I bet Drew can sleep through the crying. I have a feeling he can sleep through it. None of these kids are getting sleep. They're exhausted. They're probably sleeping at school.
And what does she get in return? Nothing? No loyalty? No backup? Just silence. Drew hides when it gets hard? He lets her take all the hits, all the blame, all the heat. She goes to war for him while he stays quiet, watching from the sidelines. That's the real tragedy here. Stephanie is unraveling, not in private, not quietly, but in real time. On live streams, in posts, in TikToks. And Drew, he's letting her burn for battles he started.
Of course they're easy to contain and get to do stuff because they're tired. I feel bad if my kid doesn't get 10 hours of sleep because I know she's going to be tired all day the next day. These kids are being woken up every time that baby wakes up. And there's just... I know that Stephanie has showed us where everyone sleeps, but where does everyone sleep? Because it's got to be crazy in there. You can't tell me 7 people lay down at night and fall asleep together. I have a hard time when we go on vacation, 3 people falling asleep in the same room when lights are out.
So, here we are. It's official. Drew Jenkins now has an active arrest warrant out of Oregon. And this time, there's no spin left. No more excuses. No last-minute TikTok lives or crocodile tears to shift the narrative. Drew blew it, not just for himself, but for everyone around him. This isn't some little mistake you can brush off. This is a full-blown legal crisis, one that could land him in jail, rattle his family, and possibly spark a long-overdue custody shift when it comes to his 12-year-old son, Deshaun. So let's break this all the way down.
You guys, Drew has a warrant out for his arrest, and we've got to get into this. So the warrant was issued today, and the reasoning for him having a warrant is actually kind of funny. So it is cite to appear warrant, so that means he didn't show up to the court case that he needed to show up for. And it's so funny because Stephanie is always out here talking about how Drew always shows up to his court days, blah 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 blah. Yet he didn't show up, and he has a warrant now because he didn't show up. I'm just waiting for her response because I'm just trying to see if she's going to point it to us or to his baby mamas.
Back in early April, Drew was officially notified, not some random DM or misheard rumor, about a major court hearing scheduled for May. This wasn't a pop quiz. It was a formal legal notice tied to a serious issue, his failure to pay child support. And this wasn't just any child support case. This was about his own son, Deshaun, with his ex, Arita. The stakes couldn't have been higher. A father being called to the table to answer for neglecting his responsibilities. But instead of doing the bare minimum, like walking into court and facing it like a grown man, Drew decided to ghost. No lawyer, no phone call, no statement, nothing.
Because we all know she can't take accountability for hers or Drew's actions. Now, Drew, honey, I hope you don't get too comfortable in that bed because you gonna have to visit jail. You gonna upgrade from ants to cockroaches. You know, this may actually be good for him and made for him because he doesn't want to pay rent anyways. He refuses to take care of his family and to get a home for his kids or himself. So somebody providing a roof, like the jail, is actually perfect for him. But in all seriousness, I'm glad he's getting consequences because he does not get to get away with things and nothing happen. Especially with what they are doing to those kids. But as always, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments.
He flat out ignored the legal system that had already bent over backwards, giving him chance after chance. It's like he thought he was untouchable. Like the rules just didn't apply to him. Well, under Oregon law, that kind of arrogance has consequences. Failing to appear in court when you've been legally summoned is a crime, specifically a Class A misdemeanor. That's not a slap on the wrist, it's jail time. We're talking up to 1 year behind bars or fines up to $6,250. And let's be clear, Drew isn't walking into this with a clean slate.
Drew Jenkins has a warrant out for his arrest, and call me what you want, but there's something just really satisfying about that. What's crazy is as nosy as I am, I didn't even know they had court the other day. But he didn't show, so I just know we can expect a crash out any second from Miss Stephanie, who we all know is going to be his get out of jail free card. Like, we know that. But I do have a genuine question, and I really hope someone can answer this for me. Someone who actually works in the system or is familiar with how things work in family court in Oregon. Say they do come and pick Drew up.
Let's not forget, this isn't Drew's first run-in with the court. Back in March, he was already found in contempt for lying about his employment and refusing to pay child support. That strike was already on his record. So when May came around and he no-showed again, with zero explanation, the court didn't play games. They didn't issue a friendly reminder. They didn't offer another extension. They issued a warrant. On the spot. And now, Drew Jenkins is officially a wanted man. The law isn't wondering where he is. It's looking for him.
Drew does not have official custody of Deshaun. Neither does his mom, Desiree. So what happens when they do come and pick Drew up? Do they take Deshaun too, or do they leave him with Stephanie? Or would he automatically go back to Desiree, or would he be put in the system somewhere? I really want to know the answer to that question. You can save the comments telling me that I'm in other people's business, because I know. Either way, I don't care how you feel. Deshaun needs to go back to his mom. That's it, and that's all. And another question I have is, do they actually go and pick you up for those type of warrants, or do you just kind of have to be like caught in the wrong place at the wrong time or turn yourself in? Genuinely curious. Again, I know it's not my business.
Unless something drastic happens, and fast, he's going to jail. And this time, there might not be an easy way out. Let's walk through how this plays out. Now that the warrant is active, it's only a matter of time. The second law enforcement catches up with Drew, there's no TikTok live, no pit stop at home, no last-minute goodbye video. He's going straight into custody. That means no more motel lounging, no more dramatics on social media, no more dodging accountability. He'll be sitting behind bars, waiting on a judge to decide if and when he gets out.
You know, I really want to know, what do Stephanie and Drew at this point gain by keeping Deshaun? Why don't they just give him back to his mom, or at least have some split custody? I do not understand what is there to gain at this point. Drew, you had him because you got benefits, you got housing. Because of him, you lost that housing. Stephanie, what are you trying to prove a point? Who are you trying to prove a point to? Because it's very clear that he's the least favorite. It's very clear that he's being mistreated. It's very freaking clear that he is the bottom of the barrel when it comes to those kids. Especially when I see the difference in the birthday treatment, how she treated her daughter and treated him, the difference in the presents, and then even the fucking decorations.
And here's where things go from bad to worse. Missing that court date? That wasn't just irresponsible. It triggered a second contempt of court charge. That's 2 strikes now, 1 for lying about his job, and now 1 for skipping court entirely. And when the court looks at that record, they're not seeing someone who's struggling. They're not seeing a misunderstood guy down on his luck. They're seeing a pattern. A man who manipulates the system, who ignores legal orders, who acts like the rules are beneath him. This isn't just about being broke. This is about blatant defiance. And the court? They're finally done giving Drew Jenkins free passes.
It is 1 less mouth to feed, 1 less body to clothe, 1 less child to worry about in this horrible situation that they got themselves in willingly. Then Stephanie loves to preface any sort of accusations or questions about the children and their treatment and their behavior and how they are faring with, oh, all the kids are happy, healthy, we're a tight-knit, close family, they're siblings, they all love each other, they don't want to be taken from each other. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, are you sure about that? Because I just saw a creator who had screenshot one of the notes that was given to her daughter from one of the kids, I'm kind of thinking it's Deshaun, for her birthday. And the note said, I hate your birthday because I feel lonely.
Let's be clear, Drew doesn't have a job. He's never paid a single cent in child support. Not one. And now, with an active arrest warrant and a stack of legal violations behind him, jail time isn't a possibility anymore. It's basically inevitable. Depending on how the court interprets his non-stop defiance, Drew could be facing weeks, maybe even months behind bars. And let's not forget, bail costs money. And if there's one thing Drew consistently doesn't have, it's money.
And I'm sitting here and I'm like, these kids aren't happy. They're not healthy. You're only close-knit and a tight family because you have no choice, because you're all up under each other. They've been living in one room with each other for years. They have no space, no room to grow, no privacy, no nothing. They don't have a choice whether to not be happy or healthy. Those kids are trauma bonded. They're literally getting drugged through trauma right now. And I feel bad for them, but I feel the worst for Deshaun because he receives the worst out of all of them. He is the most mistreated, and he needs to be back with his mother.
So unless someone suddenly steps up with the cash to post bail, he's staying locked up. Period. The legal system is closing in, and the only question left is, who's actually willing to save him from the mess he created?
So Stephanie from the Resilient Jenkins has confirmed that the family has indeed been evicted and they must be out in less than a month. And her way of dealing with this situation is coming onto TikTok to make a passive-aggressive video calling out all the content creators, more specifically, not by name, but Morgan, for their criticism of her lifestyle and her content.
Now, here's the thing. What I don't feel like Stephanie understands that with becoming a content creator, you will face criticism, you will face haters, you will face trolls. That is the name of the game. I even deal with that as a very small creator.
That brings us to Stephanie. Yep, that's Stephanie, the one who's been Drew's loudest cheerleader online. Every time he slips up, who's in the comments defending him? Stephanie. Every bad decision, every shady TikTok live, every courtroom no-show, she's right there, ready to spin it all into some tragic, misunderstood love story.
She has been begging and praying to go viral for years now so that she can change her family's living situation. And now that she has, she cannot handle the heat with what comes from being a larger creator and going viral and the internet. She has exploited her family's whole life for $1, which is one of the reasons as to why they're being evicted in the first place. Her decision to exploit her family's living conditions and try to monetize off it has put a spotlight on the fact that Drew has attained government housing for only him and his son. It did not include 5 other people. So therefore, you're abusing government benefits, which led to the eviction, along with non-payment, which I'm not understanding the non-payment part, because what are you doing with your social media money?
She stood by him through it all. She's called him her king, with the kind of devotion that makes people wonder, is this love or full-blown denial? But here's where it gets messy. Stephanie wasn't some clueless bystander. She knew about the court date. It wasn't a surprise. It wasn't vague. It was a legal obligation. And yet, she didn't encourage him to show up. She didn't tell him, go do right by your son. She didn't push him to take responsibility. Not once.
And in my opinion, all those people in her comments that say she's a good mom, I have to disagree, because I don't consider a good mom somebody that lays up with a man that refuses to get a W-2 job because they have back child support and they are a deadbeat dad to another child. I don't understand how that's being a good mother. It's okay for him to take care of your children, but forget about his other son that he hasn't seen in years and he has not given a dime to that mother. That's such a great mom. But anyways, comment your thoughts below. I want to hear what you have to say about this situation. I'm interested to see where they're going to end up. I really hope and pray for the sake of the kids that they end up somewhere better than this situation. And the kids are nowhere near the front door. They're not sleeping in the kitchen. They have beds. I really hope that they do better by these children.
And now we have to ask, why? Was it fear? Was she scared of what might come out in court? Or, more disturbingly, were they working together to once again dodge consequences? Because let's not pretend this is new behavior. Let's rewind to Drew's last court mess. Remember what happened? Just before he was supposed to appear, boom, a mysterious seizure. Total coincidence, right? And who broke that news to the world? Stephanie. She was front and center on TikTok, giving a 10-minute dramatic monologue about how her king was too sick, too fragile, too delicate to even think about walking into court. And now, history's repeating itself.
Stephanie Jenkins is giving us health advice, you guys. Basically, she posted this on Facebook, and she is trying to tell everybody, and that is in her audience, how eating, junk food and eating candy and food that has red dye and it's processed is bad for you. Don't get me wrong, it is. But she wants to go a step further and talk about gluten-free and talk about cage-free. You know who should be cage-free? Do you? Do you know who should be cage-free? How about resilient Jenkins Drew? How about Drew Jenkins? When he comes up late because he doesn't get a job, and so he no longer is available to be out in the pasture because now he has to be behind a cage because he has to go to jail for not paying child support.
But even Stephanie's own audience wasn't buying it. Her comments section flooded with doubt and side eyes. People weren't falling for the "my man is sick again" routine. And now, the judge probably feels the same way. Fed up, unmoved, and ready to act. Here's the bottom line. If Stephanie really wants to help Drew, she's going to have to do a lot more than cry on TikTok.
Yeah, worry about those. How about those potatoes? Then she wants to talk about how if you drink energy drinks, then you are putting toxins into your body. Yes, Stephanie, but you know what? Some of us need those toxins because we work plus 12 hours. We don't get to just sit on the couch and make babies, post a couple of TikToks, and then just chill and have the government take care of us. We don't have that option. Our work ethic doesn't let us. Our pride doesn't let us. So how about you go get a job and then come back to me, sis, okay? You pay for your groceries and then come back to me, sis, okay?
If he gets arrested, and let's be honest, it's not an if anymore, she'll need to come up with actual bail money. And that money's not coming from thin air. It's coming straight from her TikTok check, the same one she uses to support her kids and pay her bills, while Drew lounges around doing absolutely nothing. And it gets riskier. If Drew somehow gets out on bail and pulls another no-show stunt, that money, gone. Vanished. Wasted. Thrown into the trash to protect a man who's proven, time and time again, that he has no intention of taking responsibility. It's a pattern. A losing game.
So I scroll past you guys' stuff. I scroll past the duets and the stitches because what? But this time the Jenkins has finally got their get back. I don't know what in the hairy rat's tail balls is wrong with this specific creator on this app, and I gave her a little bit of attention once before, but I couldn't. The queen, the actual queen of doing this stuff, is now the pot that kettles the kettle black, or whatever that saying is, or whatever.
And Stephanie keeps betting on it, hoping this time will be different. But it never is. And the saddest part, it didn't have to be this way. Had Drew just shown up in court, even broke, even unemployed, things could have gone differently. Oregon's legal system isn't heartless. They have programs designed for struggling parents, especially those behind on child support. The court could have referred him to employment resources, training programs, even helped him set up a reasonable payment plan based on what he could actually afford. It wouldn't have been some miracle fix, but it would have been a start, a step forward, a chance to show the court and his son that he was trying. Instead, he gave them nothing. Not even an appearance.
You don't think I ever see your little day in the life with me, or your little come cook this meal, or your little Ouija board videos? I see them. They pop up on my timeline sometimes, but it's just like it's a little bit funny that you do all this smack talking about me and my king daddy Drew. But now that the script has been flipped, because that's what's happening. Now you're crying. I thought it was just so funny, you guys, because like, what? What? She thought. I always say karma comes around and they bite you in the Brazilian Jenkins is out on top this time because we resilient.
And that's where this story hits its most heartbreaking point. Arita, his ex, and the mother of his 12-year-old son, actually believed he showed up. She had so much faith left in Drew that when she saw someone walk into the courthouse who looked like Stephanie, she thought maybe, just maybe, Drew was finally ready to show up for his kid. She thought he was finally ready to be a father, but he wasn't. It was just another illusion, another performance, more smoke and mirrors from a man who has made excuses his entire personality. And instead of taking a chance at redemption, Drew went completely silent.
This message is for Stephanie Jenkins. So you think you're a good mom, right? We'll give credit where credit is due, and you cook some pretty good food, okay? And you do it with very minimal tools and utensils and space. Other than that, Stephanie, you need to realize that the internet, where you're making your money right now, is forever. Even if you delete the video, it will stay and live on the internet forever. I know that social media is a legitimate way to earn income. I get it.
But here's the thing. When it comes to court, silence doesn't buy you time. It buys you trouble. Big trouble. The system doesn't wait for people to get their act together. It doesn't reward avoidance. It punishes it harshly.
And I get wanting to be a stay-at-home mom and be able to be there with your kids and be the one raising your kids.
I get it. I would love to be able to do that too. You're throwing your kids under the bus to get that check. Mark my words, Stephanie. These kids are going to grow up one day and they are going to hate that their most vulnerable times, their most embarrassing times of their childhood is displayed all over the internet for everybody to talk about. You say that they want to be in your videos now and that they consent. They're not even old enough to know what that means. They're not old enough to know the repercussions 10, 15, 20 years from now. These kids are going through a really hard time in their lives right now. You are furthering that by blasting this all over the internet. You're throwing them under the bus to get that check. Stephanie, you need to do better. At the very least, switch up your content so that it is not centered around your children. Because I promise you, there will become a time later on in life that your kids resent you and despise you for this. Do better, Stephanie Jenkins.
And at the center of it all is the man she still insists on calling her king, Drew Jenkins. Let's talk about this king for a second. Drew is somehow both silent and chaotic. The kind of man who vanishes when responsibility comes knocking, but leaves behind enough wreckage to fuel 5 gossip blogs. And now, it's official. There's a literal arrest warrant out for him. Public record. Not a rumor. This man skipped out on a court hearing for child support, like it was just another boring appointment on his calendar.
But how crazy to get caught not watching your child by a Google Maps car. Like, man, y'all are batting 1,000. Also, look at their nice car. No, it's not brand new, but still, 2019 Jetta houses or seats 5 people, but there's 7 of them. Cute car, right? Way cuter than my 03 Durango, just saying.
So you'd think maybe Stephanie would take this opportunity to reflect, recalibrate, or at the very least, keep quiet. But no. She went with her usual defense mechanism: deny, deflect, and distract.
Car, that's cool. Well, cops most definitely already know where we're at. There's already been a couple times. Like, I think I mentioned this in one of my voiceovers. They've been here a couple of times just because people were weird when we first got in the motel situation and called. So they know where to find him if they want him. But I don't think that's quite how a bench warrant works.
Only this time, her tactic wasn't just tone deaf, it was next level bizarre. Instead of addressing Drew's legal drama or offering any kind of statement, Stephanie dropped a dramatic video that had everyone doing a double take.
That's all I'll say about that. That's hilarious for you to assume that me saying one thing about your comment is just gonna, poof, people will be nicer to us. Yeah, right. Gotta love when my hubby's ex's comment warriors are in my comments.
Picture this. She's holding her baby under one arm like a clutch purse, her other hand cradling her belly in a pose that screamed, "Soft launch." The camera's locked in on her midsection, her outfit perfectly frames a noticeably rounded stomach, and her toddler wanders the background for added maternal effect. To the average viewer, it looked like baby number 4 or 5. Honestly, we've lost count. Social media lit up. Is she pregnant again? Flooded the comment sections. But just as everyone was scrambling to process this timing, given Drew's whole arrest warrant situation, Stephanie lifts her shirt, gives her stomach a playful smack, and laughs. "It's just my ha," she says, beaming, followed by a smug little gotcha.
Literally playing. Just bloated with a hernia. Gotcha.
She really did that. In the middle of her man being dragged by the courts and the internet, she staged a fake pregnancy reveal as a joke. If it sounds unhinged, that's because it is.
What about ever doing to that girl? Anyways, I'm gonna go back to just responding to supporters and kind people. Haters can stick around if you want, but you will be ignored.
Let me get this straight, Stephanie. Let's address the elephant in the motel room since you won't. Why is your toddler outside, unattended, by a car, by himself? This is Atlas, and this is the Jetta that they have. It's a 2019. Now, I don't know about y'all, but this is crazy. And the fact that the Google Maps car caught him outside is crazier.
People are furious, confused, embarrassed for her. What was supposed to be a silly prank landed like a desperate cry for attention, or worse, an intentional distraction from the very real legal mess looming over her family.
Also, Stephanie, when I get on here and start clocking your ass, I got motherfucking proof. I got screenshots, girl. Your mother was just on live with me the other night telling me all types of shit. I want to know why, Stephanie, you took Deshaun from his mom and never gave him back. You want to get on here and hee ha ha about some shit whole time. You are in the trenches, boo. You need to leave that man and get up out the trenches, baby. Because getting on here and trying to go back and forth with me is going to have your ass crashing the fuck out. I promise, on my kids and on my mother. Trying to take the heat off of you and trying to put it on me is real crazy, boo.
And at the end of the day, it's not just about the prank, it's about what it represents. Stephanie's still clinging to the fantasy that Drew is some misunderstood king, when all signs point to reckless, selfish behavior. Her followers are watching, her critics are circling, and her children are growing up in the middle of this public chaos. So if this was meant to be funny, it missed the mark. If it was meant to distract, it only made things worse. And if it was meant to prove she's unbothered, well, the internet's not buying it.
So let me get this straight, y'all. Drew didn't show up to court and now he got a warrant out for his arrest. Yup. So if y'all are not all caught up, Drew owes hella money and child support to Arita, and she took him to court and he never showed up. But she thinks that she saw Stephanie, but she's not 100% sure. But Drew was nowhere to be found.
Stephanie, in classic form, stayed silent. Not a word. Not a denial. Nothing. Until now. And the timing? Oh, it's giving calculated distraction, not random coincidence. Let's be real, this wasn't about cracking jokes or being silly. This was a classic Stephanie smokescreen.
But y'all know how Stephanie is about her King Daddy Drew. She's gonna hide him away in another motel somewhere in the Hotel Motel Holiday Inn. And since he didn't show up to court, that's gonna look really good when Desiree files for emergency custody for her son. Because let's say that Drew gets caught and goes to jail. Do y'all think that they're gonna leave Deshaun with Stephanie? No. You're going to jail. Like, damn, what is Stephanie gonna do when Drew can't work his 9 to PS5 no more? Soon we're gonna be seeing videos, free my King Daddy Drew, free my King Daddy Drew.
Every time the spotlight turns scorching hot, she pulls the same stunt. Toss a shiny, chaotic new storyline into the mix to get people talking about anything other than the real issue. And this time, that issue is a whole arrest warrant with Drew's name on it. We're not talking about petty internet drama here. This is a court-ordered situation.
So let me get this straight. You also think that it's okay to let your kids sleep right next to the kitchen? This is a family of 5 living in a 1-bedroom apartment. And yes, those are bunk beds behind me. And I don't know what's worse, having your kids sleeping next to the kitchen or making fun of your own kids for sleeping next to the kitchen. So as you can see here, this is the little setup, and I will say it's clean, it's cute, yeah, whatever.
Drew skipped his child support hearing. That's not trolling. That's not haters making stuff up. That's real-world consequences with legal and ethical weight. Stephanie knew the backlash was coming, and instead of facing it, she threw out some pregnancy bait. And let's be honest, it kind of worked. Her comments blew up. Wait, are you pregnant again?
But what is this, and why are you literally making fun of your children? Like, genuinely, what is this? And then here comes Stephanie talking about some, my goodness, this is the most relatable clip I've come across in a while. Bunk bed right next to the kitchen. Y'all get it. I'm sorry, but what is it with y'all and this fascination of your children sleeping in the kitchen? Then the adults taking the bedroom with the babies. Like, I could confidently say that if I were to live in a 1-bedroom apartment, I would give my children the bedroom. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts, like no questions asked and nothing, no arguments and nothing.
Another one already? Didn't your doctor say no more babies? Just like that, the internet stopped talking about Drew's legal troubles and started speculating about Stephanie's stomach. A classic misdirection, and she's pulled it off before. When people said Drew was lazy, she called it not wanting to work your life away.
Y'all, this man went live tonight on TikTok. No W2 Mr. 9 to PS5 himself goes live on TikTok after 11 p.m. when the children are all trying to sleep. The baby's crying in the background multiple times. He keeps muting. He's not addressing anybody, but then he says that he doesn't have a real warrant. Yes, you do. And he says that his license is not suspended. Yes, it is. And then he just argues with people, mutes, says ridiculous stuff, mutes. Stephanie's in there under other accounts being like, going after everybody. Like, girl, we know it's you. Chill out. You're even gifting him? Yeah, it's you. And then we're all in there, free Deshaun, like the whole chat for like 5 minutes. Free Deshaun, free Deshaun.
When folks noticed he never lifted a finger around the house, she claimed we only saw her side of things. When rumors swirled that he was faking seizures, she brushed it off as him not feeling well. And when his exes aired him out, she clapped back hard. One was a child abandoner, the other just jealous. Time and time again, Stephanie steps in as the ride-or-die defender, spinning every scandal into a sympathy card. But this time, her defense was a literal haw.
And then he's like, this chat is so boring. I'm getting off. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Maybe you should go turn yourself in. Maybe you should do that. Or, I don't know, apply for jobs or, I don't know, go to sleep. It's fucking late. Like, I cannot imagine. I would not be live on TikTok late at night if I didn't have my own room where I could close a door so my children could sleep. Like, sir, what are you doing? Absolutely ridiculous. But yes, Drew does have a warrant. And Portland police stated that if they catch him, they will absolutely arrest him.
A belly slap and a gotcha. That's the play. And while she might have fooled some, most people see it for what it is. Another messy cover-up in a saga that's starting to look less like real life and more like a toxic reality show with no end in sight.
Well, no, they're not going to break the door down. It's not like a felony warrant like that. It is a warrant, and you do not have a license right now. So go ahead, go out and drive, and we'll see what happens. We have people watching the jail roster. We will know as soon as he is arrested because it's public information. And once he is, if it's before the 28th, Desiree will go get her son because that's what we're all here for, right? Is for Deshaun to go home and for these kids to have a better life. And Stephanie, this should be a wake-up call for you. I really hope that you get your shit together. I really do. For these kids' sake. Because if not, I don't know how much more you guys can keep doing this.
The saddest part in all of this? Stephanie Jenkins didn't start out like this. She wasn't always the TikTok mom wrapped in drama, fishing for validation from strangers, or making headlines for chaotic parenting decisions. Before Drew, she was different. She had jobs, real jobs. She worked long shifts, sometimes juggling more than one. She was tired, sure, but she kept showing up. She knew the hustle, she knew the grind, and most importantly, she knew what it meant to be a mom. Not just for the cute Instagram moments, but for the real stuff.
Stephanie Jenkins, so you mean to tell me that there is no way that you have a favorite when in reality, look at this birthday card. Whose name do you see that is missing? I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with Krayshawn. If you didn't know, yesterday was her middle daughter's birthday, and she had such a big birthday compared to Deshaun. Let's get into it. First of all, Miss Stephanie Thompson over here planned all of her gifts in advance. She didn't go to the store and pick them out last minute like she did for Deshaun.
The scraped knees, the missed meals, the late night budgeting to make rent. She showed up. Back then, she talked about building a future, a steady home, a peaceful life. Her goals were simple, but they were rooted in love. Wanting more for her kids than she ever had. She cooked homemade lunches, stretched every dollar, and dreamed of stability. But then Drew walked in, and everything shifted.
No, she ordered these well in advance from Amazon, I presume, but then she goes and she decorates the whole motel. Now, if you don't remember, she only decorated Deshaun's bunk bed, which was kind of sad looking, and of course, cute little Deshaun was just happy and excited to get anything. So how are you going to tell us that you don't have a preference? I mean, you got her little number birthday thing, and I believe it's called a Mylar balloon. You got her some gifts, you decorated the motel, and you wished her a happy birthday. That's something that you did not do with Deshaun. All you did was decorate his bunk bed, give him a couple gifts, and then you gave him some slides and said happy birthday. And that was it. Oh yeah, his sister ate his cupcakes that he brought from school.
Suddenly, the focus wasn't on the future. It was on surviving the chaos. And the saddest part? She invited that storm herself. Now, drama is the brand. TikTok beef is income. Controversy, it's currency. Her kids, once her whole world, have been sidelined, reduced to props in the never-ending reality show of Stephanie and Drew. Every valid concern from the public gets dismissed as hate. Every thoughtful comment is met with, "You're just jealous." It's no longer motherhood, it's performance. And now, Drew is about to find out exactly what that punishment looks like, the hard way. Behind bars, broke, alone. And, at this point, out of excuses. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Drew deserves jail time? Is this finally Desiree's moment to reclaim her child? Should Stephanie continue defending a man who refuses to defend himself? Like, share, and subscribe. Because trust me, this story is only just beginning.